This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Hercules Tires, right on our strength, and by Grunt Style. Now, with all the news from NASCAR Touring, local and international series racing, here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
Our career year continues for Bonsignor. We talk with one of the newest NASCAR track champions for 2018. And the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West is set to get dirty in the Las Vegas desert. Hello and welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast for Wednesday, September 12th, 2018. Kyle Rickey here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, my NASCAR home track here in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, joined by Hannah Newhouse in our studios in Concord, North Carolina. And Hannah, we are in the month of September. And I can tell by stepping outside here because the temperatures are about 25 degrees cooler than what they were a week ago. But that also means tracks, sadly, are beginning to wrap up their 2018 season. Several tracks this past weekend, wrapping it up for another year.
Yeah, things are heating up, like you said, as the weather starts to cool down. Still hot here in North Carolina as we prepare for this good old Hurricane Florence that everyone is watching. So we're all trying to get out to Vegas to beat that hurricane. But yes, tracks are wrapping down their seasons and things are getting wild. Everyone's laying it all on the line, so there's definitely going to be action at all of these short tracks. But we're seeing a lot of these touring divisions getting ready to wrap up their seasons as well, as it's down to 2, 3, maybe 4 races left in a lot of those touring divisions as well.
We will talk to one of those track champions here coming up in a few minutes. But before we get into that, let's talk about one of the touring series, the NASCAR Wheel and Modify Tour, in action this past weekend at the Riverhead Raceway in Long Island in New York. No surprise, Justin Bonsignor, who won the first Riverhead race back earlier this summer, did it again. Hard to believe. 7 wins already this year for Justin. We've been saying it for weeks now. He needs to stumble for anybody to have a shot at this championship other than him. I don't see that happening here between New Hampshire, Stafford, and Thompson coming up.
I don't see it either. I mean, we look at New Hampshire. He ran really well there in that all-star race, won that, ran really good in the other race following. I don't think anyone has a chance for him at this point. He's got those 7 wins, and he's running a dream season right now. What more can you ask for except for winning every single race? And he's already won almost half of them. So Bonsignor is having a dream season. I don't think his mess-up could even be big enough. At this point, he's pretty much got it locked up. So it'll be interesting, though. The 250 has a potential to maybe shake things up a little bit farther back in the points, maybe between Dowling and Solomito, second and third right now. But I think Bonsignor's got this in the bag.
He has a 79-point lead now over Chase Dowling. 3 races to go, New Hampshire, Stafford, and Thompson, as we mentioned. Last week, Timmy Solomito finished second. Chase Dowling was third. Doug Coby fourth. Dave Sapienza rounded out the top 5. The next stop, the Musket 250 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway next Saturday, September 22nd. All right, on today's show, Peyton Sellers will join us, this year's track champion at the South Boston Speedway. He finished second in the first Twin 75 last week, won the season finale in that second race. And Hannah, one of the most competitive late model fields, no doubt, in the Southeast. And he's able to come on top again at South Boston, a familiar spot for Peyton at South Boston Speedway.
Yeah, this makes his 4th track championship with the late model stock. So great for him to get that another championship. Obviously a big name in late model stock racing. So no surprise to see him on top. He's competed with Philip Morris, shown that he can win. So it'll be interesting to talk to him about another championship he can get to add to his resume.
Peyton will join us on the show here in a little bit. But first, our next guest, or our first guest of the day, Brendan Gaughan will join us here in a moment. In fact, I think he's on the line right now, as Brendan will run the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West race here to kick off a busy race weekend at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Of course, all 3 of the NASCAR's National Series are in action. The kickoff to the playoffs for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series in the South Point Casino 400. And the driver that will compete in a race on Thursday night on dirt joins us now here on the guest line. Brendan Gaughan, a 2-time former champion in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West, back when it was known as Winston West, joins us now. Brendan, welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. You ready to get dirty this week in Las Vegas?
I'm definitely ready. I'm sorry that had to move things around. It's going to be a little loud. I just boarded a plane. It's busy week. It's the South Point 400. It's the we got all these things going on, and with the title sponsorship comes a lot of things. And my liquor company, we've got labels we had to pick up, and I had to do it. So I left this morning at 7 a.m. to get back today at 2 to put labels on until 9 o'clock tonight. I promise I'll get worried about the Star Nursery 100 in a day or so. But right now it's all hands on deck, man. It's a great week. The weather's great out here, so it'll be a nice weekend for the fans. And can't wait to see how packed Las Vegas Motor Speedway is for its second race.
Now, you're partnering back up with a team. You've ran with them before, Bill McAnally Racing.
Oh, yeah.
How great is it to you've won championships with them in 2000 and 2001, and you're back behind the wheel of a Bill McAnally Racing car. How did that all come together?
You know, sometimes when you put my dad and Bill and people in a room together, you never know what answer you're going to get. And, you know, it's the first. We are the South Point 400 race. We're sponsoring the Cup race, and it's a big weekend for us. And of course, the K&N Series is coming back to Vegas with it, going to dirt for the first time in, 45, 50 years, something like that. So it was just one of those conversations that happened, and we said, let's go play and have some fun. That's what we're all about this year. And then it steamrolled into, let's get the band back together. And we ended up with everybody left from the race team that won the championship for Bill with the Orleans Racing Team in 2001. It came back except for a couple guys that have passed away, and there's one guy that's missing in action. If he's listening to Coast, Kenny D, we miss you. We want you.
We wish you were there on Thursday night. You ran the first truck race at the Eldora Speedway back in 2013, finished 5th in that event. How do you think that experience will be able to help you in the K&N cars at the racetrack here in a couple of nights from now?
You know, actually, it's going to be a big help, one, because, you know, me and Christopher Bell are the only ones that have raced a stock car on the dirt, at least that style. I mean, guys have done ARCA, but I don't think there's many in the K&N West series that have done it. And the other thing that I think is a big advantage is what I told the guys back when we did the Eldora race, an off-road truck is a 4-link suspension that's locked in. And you guys have a lot of real traditional, good, hardcore dirt race fans that listen to your show. They know about J-bars. They know about how far the rear ends move underneath these race cars. They don't do that in my off-road stuff, nor do they do it in the NASCAR style. It's more of that style. So the dirt racing is not the same as what Christopher Bell is used to normally. That being said, the person I think you're going to want to keep your eyes on, besides, of course, me, and if Christopher Bell will be near me, I told McAnally I'm wrecking him just because he brought in a ringer over my ringer status. But the one you really have to watch, I'm telling you, Haley Deegan is going to be something to watch this race. She is so multi-sport disciplined that I think she's going to be really good.
Haley Deegan is definitely one that I have on my list, too. I think this will be a great opportunity for her to shine. I actually know that she was out at the Bull Ring, I believe, a couple days ago, maybe testing a dirt late model or a modified out there. So great that she's making that jump to try and get that seat time. I know she's always testing out at Irwindale in a late model. So, hey, now she's trying to get that stock car experience on dirt for this upcoming event. Now, we talked about how the fact that you've ran this Eldora truck race. What do you think we can expect out of this race? We've got, like you said, a pretty versatile field of people that come from dirt, but most of these field has never raced on dirt before. What do you think we can expect out of this race?
You know, I think first that Las Vegas Motor Speedway did the right thing. They brought in a bunch of people from the Midwest that are dirt pros. That way they've already been turning the dirt. I believe I've been told they've turned it twice already. And in the dirt world, that's a big deal doing the dirt work. So I'm hoping that they can do as good of a job as we see, you know, that Eldora, keeping the dirt good for the night. I do know we have there's another series with us that's, you know, a feeder series that's basically a dirt control series, you know, to make sure that if it's too wet, they can get them to slide some dirt off. So I think what you're really in for is just a good time on a Thursday night without much traffic and watching a bunch of kids that are trying to make their name. You got a big autograph session with Clint and Kevin and who did I see? Kurt, Clint, Kevin, Noah Gregson, and Riley Herbst, two Las Vegas locals. You got the K&N autograph session, which I'll take part in that one. So, I mean, you want to have just a good old-fashioned, you know, time at a racetrack. This is the one. No traffic, big name stars, and a great dirt race. You know, lots of racing, too. I think I saw 4 heat races plus the last chance and the main. So, a lot of racing to come to Thursday night.
Kyle, Rickey, and Hannah Newhouse chatting with Brendan Gaughan here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Brendan, we know you're traveling, so we'll let you get back to traveling here. But in a moment, want to first ask you about the big NASCAR weekend coming up, your involvement in the event, the South Point Casino 400. A lot happening at the hotel this week. I can't wait to get out there in a couple of days. One of my favorite stops on the calendar. You guys have Media Day coming up on Thursday. You touched on it when we brought you on a few moments ago. What is Race Lake for you now as a title sponsor of a major race weekend?
You know, it definitely is different. I thought it was busy before. It seems like it's just as busy. And then you guys got stuck with probably the worst Grand Marshal in the history of the sport for the Sunday race. I'm your Grand Marshal, so sorry everybody. You got stuck with me. But it's been, like I said, it's really been fun because we sponsored racing so long. You know, people don't realize we've been in NASCAR since 1995, and have had a 23-year relationship sponsoring NASCAR race cars, not just my own, but others, a lot of others. And this is our first time. We've done little sponsorships of West races and of truck races and even some pole days of things, but this is the first time being, the big sponsor. And it's been fun. The company's been fun. We already know how to do race advertising because of the South Point race car. So, I mean, it was really neat. All the people enjoyed it, our internet marketing group, our marketing group, the slot promotions, everything. We're a racing-oriented group. We know that's our customer. We know that's the people that love coming to the South Point. And so it really has just been kind of a busier week than the other race week, but everybody's kind of having fun with this one. Like I said, we got commemorative bottles of City Light Shine. We've got poker chips, commemorative poker chips for the first one, and gaming chips at all the tables. We're running slot promotions through the whole thing. I mean, it's been fun. I mean, that's the main thing. It's been hard work. Everybody's been working their tails off, but it's been a lot of fun to watch it, come to fruition.
And that's what this is all about. Cannot wait to get out to Las Vegas here in a couple of days from now and head over to the South Point. Brendan, thank you for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. We'll see you Thursday night at the dirt track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you fitting me around the schedule. I apologize for that. But, hey, sometimes you got to get it done yourself. You know what I mean? But thank you. Can't wait to see everybody. And thanks to Star Nursery and Craig Hughes, big supporter of NASCAR for a number of years from Vegas.
And, of course, they are supporting the race on Thursday night, the Star Nursery 100. Brendan Gaughan joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Coming up, South Boston Speedway track champion for their late model division. Once again, Peyton Sellers. He'll join us next here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Hi, I'm Rob Tanner, inviting you to the all-new America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA. The sound is updated with fresh features and more of the voices you hear at the racetrack each week. The one thing that hasn't changed, it's 2 hours of the hottest hits in country music as we get you ready to go racing. So join us for the brand new edition of America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA, at the same place right here on the Motor Racing Network.
The 1993 Cup Series season had more than its fair share of twists and turns.
Checker flag's waving. I look in my mirror, and here's Earnhardt right on my tail, and he goes down low to pass me. And I said, oh, no, you don't.
As Wallace spins, Wallace's car goes on its nose.
Here's stories that you've never heard before in a 10-part series called The 1993 Season, 25 years later.
And Davey was behind me, and we came off the corner, and there's a guy standing in the middle of the racetrack.
You can download it for free on iTunes and at MRN.com right now.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcast elevates your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Austin Dillon leads the pack. No one ever thought he would contend for the win. He's going to win the 60th running of the Daytona 500.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Hercules Tires and by Grunt Style. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
Back here on NASCAR Coast to Coast on the Motor Racing Network, the South Boston Speedway in Virginia wrapped up their 2018 season this past weekend with a pair of 75-lap feature events for the late models and the crowning of the champion. That champion joins us now here on the guest line, Peyton Sellers, who finished second in race number one. Won race number two, both finishes plenty good enough to pick up the track title. Peyton, welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast, and thanks for joining us here this afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. Everything going well with you guys?
All is well on our end. How are things with you since getting the track championship a couple nights ago?
Yeah, we are definitely on cloud nine this week. It was kind of one of those nights you dream of having, and to be able to run with the national champion all year and beat him for the track championship and win the last race of the year. It was something to definitely, it was a humbling experience for sure.
We talked about how South Boston Speedway right now probably is one of the most competitive tracks out there when it comes to late model stock competition. This is your second back-to-back champion, but fourth total when it comes to late model stock track championships at South Boston Speedway. What's the key to winning these championships there?
We run they alternate weeks. They run a 100-lapper 1 week. The next week it'll be a twin 75. And then they throw in their big 4th of July 200-lapper through the middle of the year, which is still a points race. So we have a lot of outsiders that come in for that race, and it's kind of a wild card night. You got to be consistent that night, but yet everybody's going after that big check too. So, consistency is what it's all about. I had a couple of nights this year where we fell out and got in accidents and things, and Philip had a couple as well. So it was down neck and neck for us. All year long we were back and forth. I think I finished. He won 10 races, and I think I had like 9 or 10 second places to him. So we were right there. So on the nights where he faltered a little bit, we were very consistent in there week in and week out. So South Boston is just it's a good central location for a lot of tracks around our area, with Dominion Raceway, Langley Speedway, Caraway, Southern National, all within 3 or 4 hours of the track. We draw a lot of cars on the off weeks that want to come to South Boston and race. So that, with just having a lot of good guys that race and have raced at the upper levels and come back. We've got Philip Morris there every week. Timothy Peters races there. Bobby McCarty, who's hot in the Cars Tour right now, races there. It's a home track for Lee Pulliam as well. So it's definitely a lot of talent that comes in and out on any given week.
Mainly because it's one of the nicest tracks that the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series has. A very well-kept facility and always really great to visit when you guys go at it on Saturday nights. Now, you started in the back of the pack, race number 1 the other night, by choice to earn passing points. For those that may not understand that system, explain passing points.
Well, it's a situation that South Boston put into place about 3 or 4 years ago now, that pretty much if you qualify 8th and you can win the race, you'll get a point extra for each position you pass. So if you qualify 8th and win the race, you'll get 8 extra points. Wherever you qualify, Saturday night I qualified 2nd. I elected to go to 18th. So by going from 18th back to 2nd, I gained 17 extra points. So that's just a way that they did it a couple of years ago to kind of spice up the shorter races. It makes it hard to get back to the front, and most of the time, if you can get back to the front, you're pretty well used up. Your tires are used up. You've bent some fenders trying to get there and trying to push the issue to get back to the front. So, they did that. It's been a good experience. We actually, Philip elected to go to 10th several times this summer trying to get the extra points for the national points, and he was able to come back up and gain some extra points. So I think me and Philip were 1st and 2nd in the passing points this year, as well as the track points. So the fans have really enjoyed it. It hadn't really dictated the outcome of the championship a lot, but it has made for good shows for the fans.
I will say I'm always an advocate for inverts and for that kind of stuff. We do a lot of that out on the West Coast when it comes to pill draw inverts or anything like that, and passing points. So something that is not too big of a thing out here on the East Coast, but I'm definitely an advocate for it. You add this 2nd back-to-back championship, 4th total to your late model stock or your resume, but you're sitting tied for the lead right now in this Virginia Triple Crown points, coming off of 2nd place at the Hampton Heat. And we've got the Valley Star Credit Union 300 coming up in a couple weeks. How awesome would it be for your team to add also this Virginia Triple Crown to your resume?
It'd be huge. I'll be quite honest with you. There's a certain amount of prestige that goes with it here in Virginia, being from Virginia. A lot of local guys running for it year in and year out. C.E. Falk has won it. Timothy Peters has won it. I've won it. Last year I tied Timothy for it, but he won it because he won the Valley Star Credit Union 300 at Martinsville, and I was 3rd. So that's just the way it plays out. It's a $10,000 bonus at the end of the night for whoever wins it. And right now, me and Philip have 1 win apiece and 1 second apiece. So we're tied up right now, and Bobby McCarty's right behind us in 3rd with I think a 3rd and a 4th. So it's tight right now. Whoever beats whoever is going to win the Triple Crown. So it hadn't been this tight in years past. Usually in years past, you just had to have 2 good races, and then you could kind of have a 3rd one as a mulligan, because South Boston, Langley, and Martinsville are 3 totally different tracks. And they bring unique characteristics to it. But they're larger events that count for the Triple Crown. And that's what puts 30 or 40 cars at each race.
What would finally winning a Martinsville Grandfather Clock Trophy mean to you here in a couple of weeks when we get to the Martinsville Speedway?
You know, I've kind of told people in the past, you know, if I could win that clock, I would probably just quit racing because my career would be fulfilled in a late model stock car. But honestly, it would probably put that much more drive in me to want to go out and win more and do more. But we have qualified on the pole at Martinsville. We've led the most laps. We've qualified, you know, we've led halfway. We've been leading on a green-white checkered, but we have never won the clock. And it has been something that's eluded me for a long time now. And we're putting a lot of emphasis on it. And after Saturday night, you know, coming out of South Boston with the championship and a win, we've got a lot of momentum rolling into Martinsville. So really looking forward to it. Clarence's Steakhouse has been sponsoring cars since back in the 50s. It's their home track. They're my sponsor. I run the orange and white 26 Clarence's Steakhouse car, also sponsored by Damel Toyota, but it's Clarence's home track. He puts a lot of emphasis on that, and he never applies pressure to me. But I know when I walk into that restaurant race morning, the look I get with Clarence is like, hey, you know what this means to all of us here? It's time to go out and do it. So pressure's definitely on us.
The Valley Star Credit Union 300, a couple weeks away. One of my favorite races to go to all season. It's just so intense. You can just feel all the drivers there are getting ready to lay it on the line. It's the biggest race for late model stocks of the season, and I'm excited to now be going back this year. Of course, MRN bringing you guys coverage for that race once again. But it'll be cool to watch a race within a race for this Virginia Triple Crown. You'd mentioned if you win this clock, you take a step back from racing, but we all know that's probably not going to happen. But you're hands-on in a developmental program. You've got a driver like Colin Garrett racing with you guys. What's it like to run a developmental program and help these young drivers?
You know, we've been very fortunate. We started off, you know, running a second team out of our shop back in 2005 when I was competing for the national title, and we had Brad Coleman drive for us. And I had to teach Brad how to change gears. He had run some sports car stuff, some Star Mazda stuff, and to see him go into ARCA Series and go into the Busch Series and drive for Joe Gibbs and you know, do that, it gave me a lot of spark in what I do, you know, more than just being a race car driver, being able to help, you know, develop drivers and teach them and see them move up the ladder. Austin Wayne Self, who's running the truck series now, has drove for us in years past for several seasons. We've had a lot of guys come through our ranks. Matt Bolin, we took him from a go-kart to a national champion. And HC, my brother, is a big part of that as far as the setup and building the cars and going from there, and I help him with the driving. So, you know, we've got Colin now, who has won a limited sportsman championship for us. He won a late model race, and he went straight into the K&N series and is running the K&N series this year. So it's definitely rewarding inside just to be able to know that you've done something outside of just going out and driving a race car.
Grooming a lot of young drivers over the years, no doubt. Peyton, want to thank you for taking the time to join us here this afternoon on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Congratulations on the championship once again at the South Boston Speedway, and we will see you at Martinsville in just over a week from now.
Really looking forward to it, guys. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll see you here in a couple weeks.
Look forward to it. The Valley Star Credit Union 300 can be heard here on the Motor Racing Network for a second consecutive year on Saturday, September 29th, here on MRN. Coming up, we'll wrap things up on this edition of NASCAR Coast to Coast, including previewing another busy weekend ahead for NASCAR short track racing.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Grunt Style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
Kyle Petty here. My friends at Click & Close, the official mortgage provider of NASCAR, have stepped up this year to support Victory Junction through the fastest lap of the race program on NASCAR radio. So join our team. Go to clickandclose.com/NASCAR today to donate $43 or more. and help us give the gift of camp to children with serious medical conditions. That's clickandclose.com/NASCAR, and just look for the Victory Junction logo. Thanks to Click and Close and NASCAR Radio for their support this season.
This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Hercules Tires and by Grunt Style. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
The NASCAR K&N Pro Series West will highlight a busy weekend of NASCAR racing across the country. Of course, they kick things off this Thursday night on the dirt track for the first time at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Brendan Gaughan, who we had earlier on in the show, will be a part of the field, as will Christopher Bell. As for the series regulars, championship contenders, Derek Thorne has a 25-point lead over Ryan Partridge and 29 points over Derek Kraus. 4 races to go, including Thursday night's race. And Hannah, Brendan earlier mentioned Haley Deegan, driving also for Bill McAnally Racing, having a great rookie year. Is this her night, do you think?
I think she's going to be one to watch. Obviously, she comes from a dirt background. She knows how to handle these cars. This is her comfort zone, but it's a huge learning curve. These cars are really heavy. They don't have the horsepower that she's used to with these, pro trucks and that kind of stuff that she was running off-road. So while dirt is her comfort zone, this is still a really big learning curve for her. But I think she already has an upper hand on a lot of these drivers, obviously being familiar with dirt. But another name on the entry list too, Cole Keats, is running for Jefferson Pitts Racing. We've seen him at Sonoma. We've seen him a couple times, on asphalt. But he comes from the exact same background that Deegan does, and he also does some rallycross stuff. So he has more of a stock car style background on dirt. So Cole Keats running that 7 for Jefferson Pitts Racing is also a really good pick for me this upcoming week too. But regardless of everything, it's going to be interesting, and I am so excited to be there, witness all of this, get to go play in the dirt for a couple days in Vegas.
Thursday night, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, right now 25 cars on the entry list. Elsewhere in the Whelen All-American Series, Philip Morris continues to lead the Division I national standings over Keith Rocco and Steve Carlson. And last weekend, Hannah, the NASCAR Pinty Series, back in action at the Autodrome Saint-Eustache.
Little tiny quarter mile and action-packed per usual with the NASCAR Pinty Series, and it actually produced a new winner. Marc-Antoine Cameron got his first win in the NASCAR Pinty Series. I got to see his interview, full of emotion, so excited for that team. That moves him up to 5th in points, and LP Dumoulin, the points leader right now, had a pretty rough night actually, spun out, came back to finish 10th. But Tagliani, who's 2nd in points, got another top 5 finish to add to his resume. So now it's only 5 points between Tagliani and LP Dumoulin for that championship chase in the Pinties as they go to New Hampshire next weekend.
Coming up next weekend, September 22nd, part of a busy weekend of racing there. That also includes the K&N East and the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. This weekend also has the NASCAR Euro Series back on track after a 2-month break. Frederick Gaughan has a 26-point lead over Alain Day heading into the Hockenheim ring. Hannah, where are you? You're off to actually Las Vegas this weekend, aren't you? Going to go take in some dirt track racing?
Yep, I get to go play in the dirt, hang out with the K&N West people. It's been a couple of months since I got to go hang out with them, but excited to get out there. No lack of action. I just am so excited for this race.
Look forward to seeing you out there. Going to be another great weekend of racing. Want to thank our producers, Craig Moore and Brian Yesowich. Also, Peyton Sellers and Brendan Gaughan for coming on the show today. For Hannah Newhouse, I'm Kyle Rickey. We'll see you here next week.
NASCAR Coast to Coast has been brought to you by Hercules Tires and by Grunt Style. NASCAR Coast to Coast can be found on demand at MRN.com, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and SoundCloud. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.